Hello, hello, JJ DiGeronimo here, and I want to thank you for joining me again on this episode of Together We Seek. As you know, I am always seeking for different healers, energy practices, light workers, and I was so excited to find our guest today. She has developed her own healing practices, and she does some really amazing work, not just to clear things that are maybe no longer serving you, but creating ways for you to raise your frequency and allowing you to step into what you know is true. So, if you could be so kind to help me introduce Janine Regan-Sinclair. Hello.
Hi JJ, thanks for having me.
I love it that you're in Canada and I'm in Cleveland, and we are going to talk about multidimensional energy healing today, which is so exciting because I'm always looking for people to introduce to my network that can help them really dig off the dust and weight that's holding down many of their gifts so that they can work towards the alignment and activities that they signed up to do before they came down here. So tell me a little bit about who you are and what the multidimensional energy healing is.
Okay, so I go by the Consciousness Architect as my pseudonym because I spent 20 years in architecture in the building industry before turning to therapy and healing and writing. And basically, that was due to a trauma that I had, which was the loss of my dad when I was 36. I took it really badly, and it actually, you must have heard the saying, I felt like I was gutted. My solar plexus chakra completely shattered. It was like I had this big hole in me, and I ended up in hospital for 2 weeks with a stomach infection because of it. I was that devastated by his death. So that led me to go to an energy healer, and that's life changing for me. That's when I felt so much better. Even after the 1 hour, I thought, this is what I need to learn this for sure. So I transitioned from drawing to helping people, and that's where the name the Consciousness Architect came from, because I got into consciousness and mind, body and spirit, and how all of our multidimensional layers affect our reality, not just our health, but what we experience, the people we attract into our life, how we feel, and bringing people in from the past and stuff like that. So it was a transition from something completely different, but I just fell in love with it. I absolutely am passionate about helping people, and it's more of a vocation than a career these days.
And I love how the universe strategically prepared you for creating your own healing framework. The fact that you 20 years as an architect, you really have your brain was taught how to put things in places that benefit each other, but also give them enough space that they can be independent.
Exactly. And the fact that I was I was an old fashioned draftsman, I drew with pencils and ink pens on a drawing board. And I did have a computer as well, but that's why I left as well, because I didn't want to be in front of a screen all day working on a, CAD computer. But when you get into that, that logical male brain, it's helped me be able to look at humans in a way and see their energetic bodies as grids of light. So I can separate people out, and I can zoom in and zoom out of people's bodies, and even what's in their DNA with my clairvoyant vision. And so all of that, all of those years in architecture have helped me a lot with construction and deconstruction of people's consciousness, which, as you know, is grids and layers of light of different frequencies. So it's I now work on a multidimensional level with people, because we're not just this physical reality we see. This is just one part of our reality, and more people are waking up to that fact now. And these grids of light that are not just the physical, these layers of the grids are the consciousness layers that actually feed the messages to the DNA and the cells in our body that make them healthy or sick. So it's going into the etheric level. I even go deeper than the energy healing that I was taught, because energy healing is working with the elements of earth, air, fire, water, and so on. I go into the etheric and the plasma that holds the etheric ethers together underneath even the energetic level. So basically I'm working on, just above with the blueprint that we were designed in the very beginning with.
That is beautiful. And I can feel it. I feel like I can feel it in my torso right now. We're recording on YouTube Live, and I can feel this multi-layered approach. And so you have so many assets. You have, your podcast, and you have your audio files, and you have your online courses. How does someone best start working with you?
I always say to people, if you're interested, maybe send me an email and I'll drop you a couple of links over to try some freebies on my YouTube channel or on my Instagram channel, so that they can get a feel for it. And I'm open to people asking me questions. Usually people will come to me and say, well, I've had this problem. And I start to pick up on what's in their energy field and, what's gone on in the past. And somebody can have it come to me with an illness, for example, and I'll pick up on what happened to you when you were around about 5 years old. And they might say, oh, that's when my mum and dad got divorced or something like that. And, there's the one thing that can send one cell in your body through that trauma off balance. And later on, another trauma triggers it and boom, you end up with some illness in your body because it starts to develop there. So, yeah, I would say get in touch or, check out some of my older stuff on Instagram. There's a lot of freebies on there, and I've got a Patreon channel as well, which is $5 a month, and people get 2 healings a month for that. And we meditate together for the highest good. So we've got this beautiful collection of people in there, and I open the one portal every time we do it, so people get a really powerful healing every month for their $5 as well. So it's worth trying.
Mm. Worth it. I mean, worth it. That's what I do. I have different memberships, and I'm probably going to join yours too. Is I like to have things in my schedule that I know are times in my day or times in my week that are self-care for me. Because I do a lot of things for other people, and I'm constantly speaking. And I find that if I don't put those in my calendar, the weeks will blow by before I even really do anything to sort of plug myself in.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you can see that you work on yourself. Your energy feels really clear and lovely. It is.
Yes, I do. I did body sound bowls this week, and I also just had somebody at my house. So I am a believer. Everybody that I talk to are people I'm working with or in the process of organizing it, because I feel like we all need to have people around us that are going to help us work through things that are difficult to work through ourselves. And the fact that you take multiple different energy practices and put it into your own healing practice. The crystal K is so powerful. So I'd love to talk about that. And then I'd like to sort of, if you could touch on, do people know they're in that healing practice, or is that how you kind of go through all the layers when you're working with somebody?
I developed it's crystal key Ki, so it's like chi or prana, life force energy. I developed that in 2003 and copyrighted it. So basically, it all downloaded how to do this while I was painting. I took up painting as a hobby, and as you probably know, when you're in that creative energy, the universe can deliver information to you. So I started writing notes on how to do that. So I was working with diamond energy in 2003, which was quite high frequency. Not, I didn't know anyone else that was working with it that long ago. There are people now, and it kind of developed from there. Really, I was moving like, if you imagine a fishing trawler net being wrapped around you and pulling negativity out of your body, it was a diamond net. And then that evolved into transitioning people through their bodies. And now I work with something I call the One Portal, which is an addition to it that I was doing on Instagram during the pandemic. So I did about 150 free healings on Instagram, upgrading people's DNA during the pandemic. Because I know there was a lot of stress around, people couldn't go out. And, I ended up with around about 10,000 followers on there for that, which was great. People would turn up and we'd all do some healing together, and I would give a talk. And I've always been a bit out there. I've been studying multidimensionalism and things like that from day one. As soon as I got in, woke up when my dad died, basically, which was, it will be 23 years ago coming up this year in the summer. And I just threw myself into, I have to know the quantum physics of it. I have to, understand the multi-layers of the body. And then I studied hypnotherapy so I could understand the mind and the different levels of consciousness that get affected when we go through trauma, for example, with split offs and things like schizophrenia and stuff like that. These are all fractured parts of our consciousness and our psyche that need to be addressed. So it kept evolving, and I was using it on myself all the time. I did have a lot of trauma. When I lost my dad, that was the beginning of it. I lost 13 members out of 15 members of my immediate family. So there's a lot of deaths to deal with over the years, a lot of trauma. So I do practice what I preach on myself, and it's then it becomes a habit of just doing your healing and your meditations every day and stuff like that. So am I going off track here? I can't remember the original question.
Oh, not at all, not at all. And I see we have a lot of people watching, so if you have a question, please, you can drop it in the chat. No, because I've had many people, Victoria's one of them says, our messes are our message.
Yeah,
And it seems to me like that crossroads was really what kicked you into this process. And now you're using the healing practices that you've learned over multiple decades.
yeah.
You're speeding it up, it sounds like, to then help others.
Yeah. So the one portal, and I started using that on Instagram about 4 years ago now, I think 3 or 4 years ago, and it just came to me like I'm very in touch with my higher self. I can kind of communicate like I'm having a conversation with my higher self, and my higher self said, right, this is what we want you to do today. We want you to open the portal at the center of creation. I was like, okay, so I did it live, and people were blown away by it. And then I came across a document that was military research that was released in 1983 called the Gateway Project, which talked about remote viewing, astral traveling, and the black and white hole at the center of the cosmic egg of creation. And basically the one portal is that black and white hole. So that's what I'm using on Patreon. So it's not just, oh, I've got a headache, I'm just going to throw the headache into the portal. This is cleaning people's energy field on a multi-dimensional level. So it's massively powerful in that respect, and it's catapulted people forward that have been working with me. And I've got a really lovely group of women now that I even do a private Zoom with, that's free, because we've kind of got friendly, and they've been dedicated to leveling up, and we get together once a month and we do big stuff together that is changing on a global level. And you're going to see that coming out in reality now. Things like income tax program in your consciousness could be removed. There's people saying there's no laws out there saying you have to pay income taxes, and that's going to be gone soon in America. You can see that they're already talking about it now, and there's taxes on everything, so that they don't need those taxes. That's going to improve people's lifestyles because they're going to have more money to spend on themselves and their homes and their families and so on. So we're bringing out really big programs from our consciousness, from past lives, previous lives, where our ancestors were barbaric. They went to war over the slightest thing. All of those things are still in our DNA, and what's in our DNA is projected into our reality, as you know. So we're taking out things like that. We're taking out big, powerful, negative programs from our ancestral lineage in my Patreon channel. We're doing it twice a month at the moment. So it's a good place to come, and it's only $5.
I love it. I love it. We're going to put the link below after the recording so people can jump on that. So maybe you could share with us, for people that are listening, like, well, this sounds all amazing, but like, how does this manifest in people's lives? Like, without names, of course, but what are some of the human results of going into the portal, cleaning out layers of energy that's no longer serving them?
Okay, so first of all, I connect you to the source, to the sun. So we bring that down, we ground it, and we spread it out around the planet. So you're in that beautiful white light. And then the portal is like imagine a wind tunnel, in front of you. So basically you've got the white light coming in and the rubbish is going into the wind tunnel. So it's like a cycle of cleansing in the loop of creation through, you know, working with the magnetic energy fields and things like that. So it's very easy to do. It's a simple meditation that I guide people through. And I've used it for all kinds of things. I've had people that have had severe trauma, PTSD. I worked with the military using it to help soldiers. And there's one on my website, taken mold out of people, somebody that had severe mold poisoning in the whole body, used it to take mold out. Then I think they had 12 sessions, short sessions to do that. So it can be used to release trauma from the system. It can be used to remove anxiety, depression, all sorts of things. I haven't come across anything as yet that it can't help with, because basically you're working with the core of creation, which is, you know, the black and white hole at the center of creation is creation and destruction. You know, things go into the black hole and are recycled and come back through the sun. That's how it works. So I haven't come across anything, because basically our energy field is like the software in a computer. It's all programs and bits of etheric strings of energy that carry information, and it alters the frequency of those strings, which alters us, which alters our reality as a result, because reality that we experience is a projection of our consciousness. So
The reality we experience is a reflection of our consciousness.
yeah,
Mm. I just love that. And I feel like so many that listen to not only the videos and watch the videos, but listen to the podcast know there's something bigger for them. Maybe they've tapped into a modality or healing, a way that they heal others, but many of them are being tapped to expand that. And I think for some of them, they're not sure how to go about that. And I do think sometimes the first step is just cleaning out your vessel, right? What's holding you back? What's stuck in the back corner or underneath, you know, your back leg? Because we do store energy. And today, just my energy session, just there's the stories we create with the humans in our life this time and the activities in past lives. And when you think of all of that, you know, we only have a little body to put all that energy. And so having this like cosmic, multi-dimensional healing can be so powerful and so activating.
absolutely, absolutely it is. And people don't realize we've got the whole universe in our DNA. We've got everything in our DNA. But your consciousness is 5% conscious, being as awake and, you know, where we are now, and 95% of it is subconscious. And it's that subconscious that we're told this junk DNA as well, that we've got all this junk DNA. That's not, that's all memories of just how powerful we really are and our previous encounters, previous worlds, and all of this kind of stuff. So what's in our subconscious is projected into our reality. People out there that explain this on a more biological level, like Dr. Bruce Lipton. I don't know if you know Bruce, but I've interviewed him years ago. Fantastic guy. He wrote a book called Biology of Belief, and he explains this, you know, on a more genetic level so people can understand it. And they like to listen to doctors as well. You know, he left MIT because he didn't agree with what the curriculum was teaching, and he's been teaching the biology of belief all over the world. So how we feel, what's in our subconscious, what we've inherited from our ancestors, and they've proven that PTSD is passed down intergenerationally and things like that, and that's projected into our reality. So if you've got a history of trauma, let's say you were brought up in a violent home because you had an alcoholic father or something like that, you will be very aware of probably attracting men that drink too much or are violent, or violence, you know, around you. You'd be very aware of it, because those programs in your system project through us. It's like we're like a prism. You know, and you see those glass prisms where they put a laser light and then the rainbow comes out the other side. Well, that's what our body's like. So the purer it is, the more beautiful the rainbow expression is, and that's what we experience in our life. I'm not saying everything's perfect. You know, we're here for a reason. We're here to clear that. But there's other stuff going on that people at home probably don't realise. We've just had 2 huge planetary alignments last week, the 6 planets and then the 7 planets. Well, the planets hold our karma. They're actually part of our energy field. They're just further out. So when they come into alignment, they act like a funnel to drop karma from our past into our energy field, which we're expected to heal to level up to the next level. And then the sun's energy, which is like source energy pouring through that beautiful white sun at the moment, that comes in and helps us push out all of this old stuff from our system. And if we don't get involved in the cleansing of our mind, body, spirit, that's when we start to get ill, because the light is trying to push the old stuff through us. The planets have downloaded it. We're meant to get into that, and we're meant to heal it so we can raise our frequency to the next level. And then I explain it in a simple analogy. Imagine that life is like an apartment block, and the third floor is the 3D. And as we're moving up into the fourth floor level, 4D consciousness, we go through all these different rooms, and there may be somebody from the past that comes in. We've got something to work through with them. There may be something in there that we need to find, to heal, and then we can go up to the next level, to the 5D, the fifth dimensional level, and the same again. We keep getting higher and higher and higher. Well, every time we clear stuff and heal stuff, our energy field, our aura, gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and we are more powerful. The outside gets more beautiful because it's an expression of our divinity, for want of a better word, as we raise our consciousness. So we're expanding back to the pure beings that we once were, that had our hearts open, that cared for one another. And, the greed and the materialism, the fear and all that nasty stuff wasn't in there. So that's the goal.
I can feel that. Yes. That feels so amazing. And I feel like my soul is like more of that place, more of that place.
Exactly.
So I could just talk to you for hours. I know it. There's so many things I want to go back to, but in the essence of time, if somebody's listening is like, yes, please tell me a little bit more. We'll have the links below, but tell us what you're working on in the next 6 months or so that you're excited about that they may be interested in.
Okay, so I've just started a new podcast with three of the beautiful women like yourself. We're all grown-ups. We're all awake, but we're awake at different levels. Some have woken up because of the political and the corruption and that side of it. And we have just recorded our fourth one. It's called Talking Timelines. And it's on Podbean, but if you go into Podbean, I have got it on YouTube as well. I've also got about 60 videos on YouTube for people on various subject matters. So I'm working on that at the moment. And I'm looking to possibly teach another workshop with a friend of mine as well. So we will be advertising that on our Instagram pages. So it's worth following on there. And there's some really, if they go down Instagram to some of my older stuff, there's a lot of free stuff on there, where people are strapped for cash, and a lot of people are these days. Even people like us that are working, it's up and down with what's coming and going at the moment. So that's the goal. My goal at the end of all, my overall goal is to fill a football stadium full of people, and to open the portals for everyone in the football stadium, so that they can clear trauma and negative energy from the system, and hate and fear and things like that, because it could be done en masse. And if I can get a footballer on board, or somebody important to help do that, it could be done over a screen to every football stadium, where people speak English. And even now you get these earbuds, can't you, that translate. So that's my end goal, is to do mass healings on people possible. And there's a lot of trauma in the world, just look what's happened to the poor folks in LA, that all that trauma over there. But there's big healings being done. We've been working with my group to clear the energy down, California, the grids of Mother Earth, from that trauma, and trauma from old earthquakes and things like that, which stay in the ground. So what's happening is war, earthquakes, floods, all these old traumas leave memories in Mother Earth's field and in the energy field of the people that experience that. And we've got that in our systems. So history tends to repeat itself. And this is why it is important to think about your ancestral lineage. where you've lived, they've experienced, and get on board with something like, my Patreon channel. And that's why I've made it so cheap, so that people can afford it.
Well, I love this. I am going to join you on your Patreon, and I'm really excited that I could share your message with my network and beyond because I believe that the light workers, healers, multidimensional leaders are here to stay, and now they are getting center stage. And I'm thrilled to be part of the journey of bringing the light and attention to the work because we all need to level up and it's going to take us all different ways to do it. So if this resonates with you, I hope you reach out to Janine and just say hello, join the Patreon, just connect with her. And I look forward to seeing you here next time. So thank you so much for joining us, everybody. And we'll be back next week.
Thanks very much, JJ.
Thank you. Thank you. This was a great time. And I really and just love your work. And I can't wait to do more of it.
Okay, thank you.